All right, welcome back. This is Mr. Steinberg again. For this video, what I'd like to do is kind of show you a couple of examples using what we call the distributive property to multiply. Some questions you'll see it'll say compensation, but for the most part, you'll see the word distributive property. And basically, what that means is when you distribute, you're going to multiply. Um, So here are the steps. There's three steps. First thing you do is you take the larger number and you break it up into expanded form, right? Those are your place value skills. Then you're going to distribute or multiply, right? It means the same thing. You're going to distribute or multiply the smaller number to each number that's written in expanded form. That's place value. And then when you're done multiplying, you just add those products. They're called partial products. Um, That's what they are. So each time you create or you calculate from multiplying, it's called a product, right? If you remember, when you add two numbers, it's called a sum. When you subtract two numbers, it's called the difference. And when you multiply two numbers, it's called a product. And when you divide, it's called a quotient. But we'll get there in a couple of units. Anyway, so let me follow the steps so you can see what I'm about to do. So step number one says break the larger number up into expanded form. So let's do that. Let me use a different color here. So the larger number here is 58, and we know that 58 is the same thing as 50 plus 8. So here's what we do. You take the smaller number, the 3, and then you're going to multiply by each of the each of the numbers broken up into expanded form. So we have the number 3 times 50, and then after we multiply that, we're going to add that to the product of the number 3 times the number 8, the only other one that's left over. And so remember, the reason that we do this because it kind of gives us some multiplication facts that we are hopefully familiar with. And if you're not, again, you can use repeated addition, or you can use a multiplication chart or a multiplication table or something like that if you're not so familiar or comfortable. So the first one says 3 times 50, which is the same thing as saying the number 53 times. If you don't need to do that, you can just multiply 5 times 3, and you know 5 times 3 is 15, or you can just add the number 53 times, right? You go 50, let's see here, 50, 100, and then 150. So we know that 3 times 50 is going to be 150. So 3 times 50, that's 150. And then over here, we're going to add the product 3 times 8. Well, if you don't know 3 times 8, you can count by the number 3 8 times or the number 8 3 times, because multiplication is commutative. But let's see here, 3 times 8. So we go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 24. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The number 3 8 times is going to be 24. So now that we multiplied 3 times 8, let me show you the other way too. You can go commutative, you can go 8 times 3, the number 8 3 times, and you'll see that we still get 24. Okay, so now we just add 150 plus 24, and you can rewrite it if you'd like to, if it's easier to write it this way. So we have, these are called partial products, because the first product is 150, the second one is 24, those are partial, and now we'll get our final, 0 plus 4, 5 plus 2, and 1 plus 0. So 58 times 3, or 3 times 58, is going to equal 174. And if you're not sure why would we do this, well, think about it this way: rather than trying to multiply this out the traditional way, if you break it up into expanded form, now you have two numbers you can multiply, or two multiplication problems that you can do in your head and just add the two products together. So same idea for the second one. Let's break this up. 243 becomes 200 plus 40 plus 3. And the number that we're distributing is the 8. So the first one we'll do is 8 times 200. That's the first distribution. The second one's going to be 8 times 40. And the third one, then when we add all together, we're going to have 8 times 3. Now we already know 8 times 3 from the first one. But let's start over here. Let me ask myself, what's 8 times 2? I know 8 times 2 is 16. Because I can go, well, let's say I have the number 8 2 times. That's 16. Or you can go the other way. You can go commutative. What if you read it the number 200 8 times? Then you can just count by 200 8 times. 200, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1400, 1600. And if those numbers are too big, just start with the 2 and count the number 2 8 times. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we know we have 16 and we have 2 zeros. So that's 1600. The next one is going to be 8 times 40. Well, we know 8 times 4. You can say you can skip count the number 8 4 times. 8, 16, 24, 32. Or you could go the number 4 8 times. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 30, I'm sorry, 20, 28, and then 32. So we know 8 times 4 is 32. And we're multiplying by a number where there's a 0, but the tens place value, so we have to add a 0. So 8 times 40, or the number 40 8 times, is going to be 320. And finally, 8 times 3, we know 8 times 3 from over here, it's going to be 24. So we have all of our partial products. So we have 1,600, we have 320, and we have 24. 0, 0, and 4, 0, 2, and 2, 6, and 3, and then 1. So the distributive property, what it's doing, it's introducing us to the idea of partial products. It's giving us a chance to write these numbers in expanded form and practice our multiplication facts. So we're using place value, we're using multiplication facts, and we're using addition. So all three skills are being put on display to demonstrate the skill of distributive property. So I think that's it for now. Keep a lookout for more videos and tutorials coming towards you or to everybody. But if you have questions or need help, please reach out to me or to your homeroom teacher. Thank you, everybody.